He was hosting a dinner for Cyno, Tighnari, Kale, and the Traveler and Paimon. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least, I think that's what it was.
Sounds like they're all tangled up in this.
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus. He was asking for 10...
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them long to catch the culprit. The sages are probably dealing with the case by now.
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will make of it. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen before. Really caught my eye. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before.
Interesting. These are all motifs associated with the tribes of the desert.
What? Really?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. And the crisscrossing and mirroring here, I recognize that too. It bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem, one that hasn't been used in...
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of the Temple of Silence.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel... This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tighnari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. But the Forest Watchers told... Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few words.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about? The Temple of...
Something's up, huh? Give me a second.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it simply, it's an organization that is... These days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for... At least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially a vestigial institution now. Historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis, one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret and the greatest of all sages. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake?
It's possible. The real question...
So, how do you know all this?
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept the pay raise even after he resigned.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took the chance to read all the top...
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office, I would respond that that's
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the student's only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the
You said you ran into Cyno, yes? Did you...
Yep. He ran off as soon as he...
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's probably Still, we should try to catch up with him.
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this emblem can't be good. We should pay a visit to the
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office. You can ask him to tell you...
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the emblem has to be part of a...
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep... Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me. We'll go after...
Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plants.
Then let's go look for him there.
Here we are. This is the...
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was here, he's probably long gone by now.
I know that voice. Is that Tighnari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness.
We're looking for Cyno. So,
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and it must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an awful hurry.
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home... Oh, it sure doesn't sound good.
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to extort...
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering. I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Corps of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange. When we saw him, he seemed pretty...
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the Academia. That's why Cyno...
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public.
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool gotten himself wrapped up in? Oh,
Thank you.
What does it say? Let Paimon take... My friends, this is a rather complicated state of affair.
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor. Traveler, Paimon, let's head to the...
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I guess you lost their trail.
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Cyno got there before us, but he was long gone by the time we arrived.
He didn't say where he was going?
No, he left us a letter and told us not to go after him.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little...
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was well educated.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business, as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say, and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka...
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some...
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Core of 30 and review the city. Also, Nephis admitted that the true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia. But the Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
so how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left centuries ago?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he went...
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated,
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? What?
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this ominous feeling that if we don't...
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master? Oh, we're finally getting to meet him in person!
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler and Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at... I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already... The Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought.
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side, or worse... Everyone, we have to get...
Need our help? Whatever you need?
Really? Wonderful. You have... Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Tainari, you are planning to go...
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master and I'll hate them.
Well, if you're sure... Okay.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tainari! Hopefully we can catch up with...
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already. But we still have a shot.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Maybe we should ask...
Hold on.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean,
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Cyno.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me? I thought...
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on...
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation.
takes a special kind of person to get Cyno chasing them all the way out to Caravan Ribat. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumer? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice.
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Ribat. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the... That's gotta be one heck of a story.
Cyno, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have...
No, it's not.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be...
Sounds like this is far more complex.
Still, if he started from Caravan Ribat...
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a...
Come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy... All right.
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you.
All right. Then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change your...
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Cyno should count himself lucky that the Traveler and Tighnari got here when they did. What was he thinking, trying to play the lone hero?
The desert tests the character of all who enter it, and only those with wisdom and courage shall prevail.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like...
Go on.
So, after you...
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of...
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis. Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for...
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about your report.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once met.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you?
Or rather, I don't.
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not. So the best option now is to try to look.
Fair enough. Then
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here can tell us.
hello.
Mahamatra Cyno?
I'm looking for someone, so I'd like to confirm any recent foot.
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on...
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came... Do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to...
I have one.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much. You are.
You've got a really good.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Best of luck. I hope...
I cannot help but feel that you bringing me here is some sort of an assassination attempt.
Gather!
I see everything.
Bow your head.
Solidify!
Hey! Everyone hold hands!
Settle down!
hold on. I see some people.
Do you think it's safe to ask them?
Should be. I'll go.
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Cyno?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here.
Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an...
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him.
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes, and he's traveling alone.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around here.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh.
Your friend over there stands out a lot. Hey, aren't you Cyno, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's gone missing, aren't you?
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us at...
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems...
Your henchmen don't look like much, but something tells me they put up a...
Hey, hear that guy?
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of...
All right. Come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? A silver-haired, long-robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes?
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. And here.
What? Where are you looking?
Please step.
Whoa, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, hold on.
Is this the Temple of Silence?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Ooh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is...
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything you might...
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to incur your... All right. You can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended?
They can't have been at the Oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they...
So this is the Temple of after leaving the rainforest.
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was... My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions. Other than that...
So we're free to explore by our...
Yep. I mean, Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood...
He's right. I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point...
Hey, Sethos! Have you got some...
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? I don't... Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking... He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it...
So you framed Cyrus for a crime?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had uncovered... Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told. And not much of an original thing.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things I can't answer for. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. And it was his own choice to take the bait. What kind of question is that?
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure.
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say...
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy...
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to. Nope, not one.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's free to walk in. You can find out... Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Cyno.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. We had to find a way to bring him back to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but now, the time has come to demand payment.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us two old men.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us off your trail.
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do.
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to...
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured as if they were your own children. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became one of us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan. And what Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small...
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, the test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean... The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite... As the second stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. Our two vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed... To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with...
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for your betrayal ever since. I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now anyway. But you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me...
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim.
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness...
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it.
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean...
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are
Don't listen to him, Cyno. That power is...
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then...
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressed. Say that Cyno refuses to return his power, Iris. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the...
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day, we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like...
Moon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to... Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago? The plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis... Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot... I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to... But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at it, so I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once. And now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure you've seen that much has changed for the better. And things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion. But it's a...
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the...
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later.
That works. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus.
Are you sure about negotiating?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight.
All right, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Cyno.
I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all the endeavors of the people of Fontaine. I believe I will continue to take pride in fulfilling my duties.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once...
So that's one thing. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith.
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way.
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the seven. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield the...
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about... I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a...
Wow, and just like that we've...
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can. In terms that they cannot refute.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I...
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here.
Only...
Follow me. Keep your voices down.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with...
Yeah.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of... So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way...
Yeah, there's no time to waste here.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow...
You're right. We both look at this problem. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of Hermanubis. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence.
Sounds very fitting.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run
3 against 3.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather.
None needed. We're on the... If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus. And consider... If you win...
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the...
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra...
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a...
Both as... Yeah. When you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame...
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. But there must be personal factors at work here, too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness. For his power and authority this is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be. Representing the Temple of...
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide on... We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeated duelists. Duelists, the might of Hermanubis himself is at stake here. Now, fight. Fight until the rightful victor is proclaimed.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out for...
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we. Let's begin.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Hey! Scatter!
A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists of the second bout to please step forward. When you're both ready, you may...
Let's begin.
Watch out!
Go, Trinity, go!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
Keep up. One with the forest.
Thus ends the second bout. We will now move to the third bout. Duelists, please step forward.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the rite. When you're both...
I am Sethos, vessel of Hermanubis, grandson of For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. We earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and now, I will fight to become the rightful wielder of that power!
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spantamad. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel.
Everyone. Old and young. My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known to be a ruler, but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew up, I went to the range. Times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. Then I thought of you, Cyno. You and I both wield the same power. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might. Glory. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes us so different from one another.
I am more than just a warrior. I am my own person.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us, shaped the course of our lives. So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my faith. More. Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer? Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, And from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tule Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tainarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos. You'll get through this.
I know. I'll miss him.
I guess you were prepared for this.
Yeah, he's been on death's door for... at least, he was able to see this
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes. The Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of...
But that's never going to work. As I'm sure you realize, I did foresee this possibility and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to Sethos. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I. And
but doesn't that render everything that we've been...
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends, which means that the Academia and the Temple of Silence, that's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said...
I will try. To be honest, I couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
Actually, part of me wonders whether that way, no matter who won, had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled its strength. And were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the temple, much less integrate the He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. So he made it his responsibility. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia. With one single...
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and Lesser Lord Kusanali deem worthy, I will grant the honor of access to the Temple of Silence for their pursuit of... The Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization. More than any other organization, but you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates, lest you lead... By the way, Tighnari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the... The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tighnari. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tighnarian companions. They always stood by. The Tighnarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, when some of the group returned to the desert, many of... In all likelihood, those were your ancestors.
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tighnarians, but I never knew that my forebears...
I like this story.
By the way, has any...
Yes. Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my grandfather's room.
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything to turn out this way...
Who knows? Perhaps...
Someone's got to make the decisions when history is at a crossroads. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to come and meet you in the desert. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, please come and visit the rainforest again. If we're going to work together,
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
Grandfather, from this day on, the Temple of Silence has the chance...
What were you thinking gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the...
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling? What other choice did I have?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the only idea you could conjure up in that white-haired walnut of yours was to shoot off into the unknown like some hot-headed 20-year-old adventurer? A one-man suicide mission, hmm? That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba Moon didn't finish you off when you arrived.
All right, all right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's like you wish you'd been there to lend him a hand. Does it mean nothing to you that I'm your colleague and former classmate?
I've got nothing more to say. What's the point of berating an old bag of bones?
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh-and-blood hero who, despite his old age, saved our General Mahamatra from being stripped of his powers. Okay, look. Fine, I admitted I was in the wrong.
Tighnari's master is really laying into Cyrus. Let's give them a wide berth.
Professor brought this on himself. Wow, I haven't... The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when...
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation's resolved. We can go for dinner afterwards. My treat.
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too! Let's go!
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days? I heard you all ran off into the desert and got embroiled in a major catastrophe.
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yes, and you too. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me? And let's not forget, I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Farazan.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved. Do I make...
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. All right.
Say, Madame Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset, but, I was just wondering, remember...
Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also, check up...
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? Oh, right!
What do you mean, cup? You need a cup.
Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tighnari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become something of a family tradition now.
kinda fun.
Mm-hmm. 2 people left. Let's bring them along, too.
Please show me your credentials before borrowing books.
Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in diligent studying?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway.
My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue.
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation. It explains how they managed to remain hidden for so many years.
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents.
That day will come. The Temple of... Now, as a token of my appreciation.
Yeah, sounds great. Although...
Sure.
And then, the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out cold! Then there was Tighnari. He put up an amazing fight, too! We ended up winning all 3 bouts!
Whoa! Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it, but I'd have been biting my nails off worrying about you guys.
A truly edifying account of the events.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him.
Of course. Being dignified comes with being a true champ.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before. It was a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, huge place! It felt like something right out of an epic poem! Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon. Dessert's here.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home? We should probably finish putting all those books back.
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later. Make sure you get some good rest tonight.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes. So, I gotta dash too.
Kali's come a long way. She's much more confident at dealing with other...
Everyone's a work in progress. You never stop...
Yeah, true.
about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a job well done. And also...
Do you three have anything planned for the rest of the day? If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now.
Okay. I think I can guess what you're talking about.
Well, now Paimon's curious! Come on, let's go!
Been a while since I last made my way up here.
Whoa, look at this!
Need any help? As you wish.
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so happy!
Traveler, turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere I only bring my best friends. When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world. That was my experience. And I'm sure Sethos will figure things out in his own time, too.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course. I see no need to be...
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework. Cyno accidentally dropped a fruit. Luckily, he has...
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip...
Those were good times.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Cyno doing something like that.
Then make it stop. There's somebody there. You guys carry on without me.
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed to jump down.
Oh my days. I can't...
Professor, what are you muttering to your...
Cyno! Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I found?
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of odds and ends in the Sage's office. I was at the Academia earlier to discuss my workload with Nephis. Oh, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture.
You look quite young yourself in that. Ah, it's this one. I remember.
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have found just...
And this one. Looks like we're both
Oh, cheeky girl.
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like the... hey, at moments like this, I hardly know where to be. I can't pretend I'm a good person. Bamoon had every reason to despise me. And well, so do you.
Don't be ridiculous, you old codger.
Is that not what you wanted me to say? Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Oh, it was one of the happiest times. You've matured so much over the years, Cyno.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you just gave. So,
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa strikes again. Just how many did she take?
Look how cute you were when you were little.
Yeah, and look how serious and professional you...
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore. First you get better than me at...
Don't say that.
That... Hey, what would you say to meeting up with Lisa?
I'd like that.
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got to beat Zaha Hadi.
Or you could find a real
Time has passed too quickly, but it turns out grown-up kids are no use. When Nephis comes after... Oh, time, but it turns out... Oh...
Great view today. This atmosphere calls for a joke out of left field, to catch the listener unaware.